Hello everyone, I'm Hanke, and welcome to this Subnautica spoiler-free guide. In this guide, I will go over everything you need to know to survive your early days in the game, and I will include a bonus tip at the end, so make sure to stay if you don't want to miss it. So let's dive right into it. So this is where we start in our cozy little escape pod, and things are quite broken around here, but don't worry, we'll fix them. The first tip I'm going to give you is about the medical kit fabricator. In here you can get a free medical kit, and as soon as you take it, it'll start making a new one. It doesn't take any resources, but it does take a little bit of time, so I recommend you to always take it so you have it on hand, and even if you don't use it, then you can store it, and that way, if it still hasn't produced a new one, you will have them in store and ready to use whenever you need them. Speaking of storage, you also have this storage container, and it's small, but it's enough for the beginning. You also have a little bit of water and food, so we can store this here. And this is the fabricator. We will need it to craft most things in the game. I will show you how to use it later. Now let's get outside. We can use the top hatch or the one below. Our main task now is to collect resources. We need to find these outcrops and simply break them to get the resources. There are three kinds of outcrops: limestone, sandstone and shale, and from them you can get titanium, copper, silver, gold, lead, lithium and diamonds. Whenever you are underwater, remember to keep an eye on your oxygen. It will run out very quickly, especially in the beginning. You can sometimes find these green corals, and you can use them to replenish your oxygen without having to go to the surface. We will also need to take care of our hunger and thirst. In the early days we will need to catch fish. They can be a bit tricky to catch sometimes, but you'll get there. In order to cook them, just come to the fabricator and cook them like so. You can also cook the bladderfish, but I don't recommend that. Instead, you can use it to make filtered water. Now simply open your inventory and consume them. Another resource we will need is sulfur. It can be found in the nests of these creatures, but be careful. And finally, for the early resources, we will need quartz, mushrooms and vine seeds, which can all be found around the escape pod. Scrap metal is also abundant, and if you take it to the fabricator, it will give you 3 titanium. Once we have some basic resources, we can start crafting them into basic materials and some basic tools. To make a scanner, for example, we need a battery and a piece of titanium. To make a flashlight, we need a piece of glass and another battery. The flashlight is very useful at night, and it's essential for exploring caves. The scanner is a very important tool. You need to look for fragments like this and scan them to unlock their corresponding blueprints for tools, vehicles, structures and everything else. Most times you need to scan more than one fragment to unlock the blueprint. Additionally, you can also scan practically anything and it'll give you more information about it. You'll probably want to make a repair tool as soon as possible and start fixing the Lifepod.
Lifepod secondary systems online.
Fixing the radio will give you access to storyline side missions. You will soon start to run out of storage space, and the waterproof blockers are a good temporary solution. So just take it outside, not too far from the Lifepod, and deploy it with right click. Now you have a little bit of storage here, and you can also change the name if you like. For example, metals. This guide has been helpful to you so far. Please leave a like below and consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. Back to the guide. Once you get a builder, you can start to set up a new base. For example, we can start with a simple compartment. And we need a way to get in, so we use a hatch. And we also need power, so we can use a solar panel. now we can just come in, and we can now place stuff in here, like a new fabricator, or more storage. And these ones are larger. And you can also expand the base, although sometimes it's a bit tricky to do it from the inside. So if you just come out, you can very easily do it. Another thing you have to keep in mind is the hull strength. Right now it's 5, so it's fine. But if it gets too negative as you start to build more base parts, it'll start filling with holes and with water. And you'll have to remove base parts or increase the hull strength with a reinforcement. And now you will also have to come here to repair the holes. And after you have repaired them all, then it'll go back to normal. Once you have more materials and you unlock the blueprints, you will be able to craft a mobile vehicle base. Then you will be able to come to the surface and deploy it. Now you can climb on it, and you can use it to craft vehicles as long as you have the blueprints unlocked. One of the resources you will need for the vehicles is the Stalker Tooth. If you're lucky, you might be able to find it on the seafloor around them, but most likely you will have to get it. And the best way is probably to just give them a bunch of scrap metal or titanium, and when they grab it, there's a chance that they will drop their tooth. Like here. Now, I may have left a little bit. There are actually 2 bonus tips. Since the map is so large and with different biomes, wreckages, resource distributions, cave entrances and many other points of interest, it's very difficult to find it all and not get lost. So having a map that you can look at is very helpful, and that's what the first tip is for. In our base, we can place a picture frame, as long as you have the blueprint unlocked. And if we click on it, we can select a picture to show. Normally this is for in-game screenshots, but I'll show you how to place any image. This will of course work with any image as long as it's in JPG format. But I've set up very simple images of the map that fit perfectly on the picture frame for you to download. I'll leave the link in the description. The original ones are from the Subnautica wiki, which I will also link in the description. Once you have downloaded the images, you have to go to the Steam folder. In the case of Windows, you have to go to this PC, your C disk, program files, and look for the Steam folder. In the case of Mac, the path is a bit different, and I'll show it on screen right now. But from here it's the same in either platform. Now you have to look for the Steam Apps folder, Common, Subnautica, SN App Data, Saved Games, and here you have to look for your saved game folder. In my case, I have only one, so it is slot 0. Now we have to look for the screenshots folder. In case it doesn't exist, you can create it. And inside the screenshots folder, simply drag your images. Now back to Subnautica. You don't have to restart your game, but you do have to exit to the menu and load your save again. Now, spoiler warning, this map shows the biome distribution. If you don't want to see it, feel free to skip to the next bonus tip. So now we just have to click on it, and we have our map here. We can upload it, and then it shows here. And you can see all the different biomes. We're around here in the safe shallows. And this is the kelp forest, and this is where the aurora crashed. So now you know how to get a map on your wall. And the final tip is also related to the map. The points of interest on the map are always on the same spot, but the starting position of the escape pod is randomized. That's why, to tell you where these places are, people use the 0 point of the map as a reference. If I open this panel with F1, I can see my coordinates, and the 0 point is this position 0, 0 on the map. But I'll show you how to find it without the coordinates. First, we craft a beacon with a piece of copper and titanium, so we can find it more easily later. You also need to unlock this blueprint by scanning a beacon fragment. Now we come to the top of the escape pod and we have to look for something like this. It's a coral that sticks out of the ocean. So we can take our sea glide to go faster. And you have to look for the coral that sticks only on one side out of the water. This one is not out of the water and this one is. So this is what we want. But there is another place very close by where the coral sticks out of the water on two sides. And this is not the place. We have to go to the one that sticks only one. So now that we're here, we just have to come down and look for this piece of land and come in this direction just a little bit and we should be right here. We can open up the coordinates to confirm and you can see we're in 2 - 2, so it's around here. Perfect. So now we can deploy our beacon and we can give it a name.
Oxygen.
And if we get far from it, it starts to show up our hut. We can also change the color, say red. Now we can easily find it and use it as a reference if we ever need to. So that's everything for this guide. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment and I'll reply as soon as possible. If you found this useful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.